Hello friends, it is your friendly fat cat here for a little discussion about protest art. Because as the world always knows, the world is ever changing, and sometimes you need to make art that says what you want to say and to create some positive change in the world. So let's talk about it. So you want to make some protest art? Protest art can be made out of a myriad of things. It can be painting, it can be jewelry, it can be sculpture. There's many things you can create. A lot of protest art throughout history has very strong imagery. Sometimes it's disturbing, it's hard to look at, but that's okay because a lot of times people need to see those strong imagery so that artists can get their point across and so that positive change can happen. However, you don't always have to have strong imagery because sometimes instead of creating art that says, I don't like this thing needs to change, sometimes you need art that says, this is the thing I want to see when that change happens. You can have protest art that supports things, that gives comfort to people doing hard work in the streets, people who are protesting and fighting, like now people who are fighting in the streets against actual violence and social injustice, and they're amazing. They need to see art, they might want to see art that supports their efforts, and it's calming and it's supportive and it's beautiful, and that is also protest art. You can have the strong, this change needs to happen, and hey, this change will happen, and this is what the change will look like. Both of those are valid, and you can make any of it. You can. When finding inspiration for your protest art, remember, there is protest art throughout the centuries. There was comics in the 17 and 1800s protesting corrupt kings and rulers. There's, of course, the iconic protest art from the 1960s and 70s, and there's amazing protest art that's happening right now during the new protests. There is amazing artists now who are creating amazing work. So do your research and look at all of the amazing art throughout the world and throughout the centuries. But also remember, you can find as much inspiration as you need, but don't copy anybody else's work. Find inspiration, find positive symbolism that works for you, and then filter it through your own creativity, because that's what matters most. It's your protest art, so make it your way and find inspiration along the way. When you start making your protest art, remember, it's okay to struggle. It is a very emotional thing to go through times of stress and times of struggle, whether it's in your country or all over the world. Right now, for example, there's a lot of social injustice happening, and it's so hard to see. And that's why we want to create the protest art, to say what we want to say about what's happening. And that can be very difficult, filtering how we feel, what we think, and how we want to portray what we think about what's happening. It can be very difficult. It's okay to get angry, it's okay to cry. Personally, the couple times I've been able to make some good art or some good protest music, I have cried buckets. Of course, granted, I am quite emotionally normally. However, either way, it's okay to take a break if you're in the middle of creating your strong protest art or your supportive protest art and all of the feelings are too strong. It's okay to back up and take a break. Just like the people who are protesting in the streets and putting their lives on the lines right now, they also have to take a break and heal and rest, and so do you. Protest art is valid, but it's also very powerful. And it's powerful for the creator, so it's okay to struggle with it. It's okay to get emotional, because that means it matters, and that means you can help, because your emotions are just as strong as the art you're making. When your protest art is finished, remember that there are many ways to share it with the world. You can, of course, put it online, and remember, if you do put it online, especially since it's protest art, you gotta be careful. Some people might be rude. Ignore those rude people. You did the work of creating that protest work, and that's what matters. If they want to complain about it, let them complain somewhere else where you don't have to hear, and don't let them bother you, because you are exercising your right to create amazing protest art for positive change, and that's amazing. Now, there's other places other than online where the trolls live to put your protest art. You can put it on t-shirts, like I mentioned before. You can even make protest jewelry, for Pete's sakes. You can put it on signs, both the ones you stick in the ground and ones that people who may go protest in the streets will use for signs. There's myriad ways, there we go, to get your protest art out there. And there's a lot of places to share it. You can have a protest art gallery show. That's a thing that's happened, and it's happened recently. There's so many ways to share it. And remember, it's okay to get a little nervous about it and to get emotional. But the fact that you made it, you got your emotions out there and said, this is the thing I'm protesting, or this is the thing I'm supporting. Once the protests have created that change, this is the change I want to see. Whatever your protest art says about the positive change that you want to see, it is good and it deserves to be shared with others when you are ready. So remember, protest art is amazing. As soon as you're done and you're ready to show it, please let it out in the world, because that's amazing and that will help the wave of positive change that comes with it, because it's powerful. So I hope you enjoyed this little discussion about protest art, its strengths, its amazing history, and the things you can do with it. Have you been creating some art? Have you been working on it? Please tell me about it. You're being amazing, and everyone who's protesting for social injustice, protesting against social injustice, and creating art and creating music and discussing all the positive change that needs to happen. You are all amazing. Don't forget it. Whatever you're doing to help, you are amazing. And you are enough, just the way you are. So keep creating, keep going, keep singing your songs, making your art, making your speeches. Support each other and be safe. And also, stay awesome, because you are awesome. And have a wonderful day. Bye, guys.